A very powerful feature in Power Query is a conditional column. And a conditional column is a great way to implement logic that occurs on a row-by-row basis. So let me give you an example. We've got this query called Sales 2019 to 2021. And we can see what number of sales were made in the columns 2019, 2020, and 21. And what I want to do is start by first of all getting rid of the null values, and I want to create a column that tells me what were my top brands, my popular brands, and my standard brands based on the volume or the number or the total sales in a given year. So anyway, let's start by selecting 2019, hold the shift key and choose 2021. Let's get rid of the nulls by going to transform these three columns and replace the values. Move this into view and replace null with 0 and OK. So that's got rid of all my nulls and puts us in a good position to create a conditional column. I want to create a conditional column first of all based on the sales in 2021. So I click the sale 2021 column. I want to add a column. It's a conditional column and this window appears. It asks me, what do you want to name this new column? Well, I'm calling it 2021 brands. Now, if the sale for 2021 is greater than 20,000, then that is considered to be a top brand. So I'm going to put top brand. That's what I want to show in this column. Then I want to add a clause. Else if the sale figure in 2021 is greater than 10,000, so not as popular, then that's considered a popular brand. Else, it's just a standard. I could put standard interest. There's standard interest in that product. So if the sale figure in this column is greater than 20,000, and you can have greater than or greater than equal to, so let's say greater than equal to. If it's greater than equal to 20,000, it's considered a top brand, but if it's greater than equal to 10,000, it's considered a popular brand, otherwise it's just of standard interest, and okay. And so what we find here is we've got certain columns that are certain brands. Now, if you want to edit the conditional column, you can actually go into its settings just by hitting the cog. And I might say, actually, I'll add a clause and say if the sale in 2021 equals 0, then just put a dash because it's not standard, it's not popular, it's not total, there were no sales. And okay. And so when I look here, these have no sales, so there's no interest whatsoever. These are popular, these are top, and these are standard. So that's for 2021. Let's say we wanted to create a conditional column for 2020. So I'll click on 2020, I'll go to conditional column, I'll bring this into view, I'll say, right, this is my sales, no, sorry, my 2020 brands. And again, I'll say if 2020 is greater than or equal to 20,000, then this is a top brand. Add a clause, else if the sale for 2020 is greater than or equal to 10,000, then it's a popular brand. Else, if the sale for 2020 is equal to 0, then yeah. Otherwise, it's of standard interest. And okay. That column will appear at the end of my table. I'm just going to drag it and put to the right of sale 2020. And so that tells me the brands for 2020, whether they're popular, standard, yeah, or top. And let's just, for good measure, do it again to the sales for 2019, conditional column, bring this into view, 2019 brands. The more you do this, the easier it gets. 2019, if it's greater than or equal to 20,000, then it's considered to be a top brand. Add a clause, If the sale for 2019 is greater than or equal to 10,000, then it's considered a popular brand. You know, you could just put popular atop. Add a clause. If the sale for 2019 equals 0, then yeah. Otherwise, it's of standard interest. That sort of thing. And okay, of course it will put that at the end of the table, drag it along and pop it to the right of sale 2019. And so those are 3 conditional columns and examples of what you can do. Let's say we create another conditional column, and this one is a conditional column that's to go onto a different table. Let me just have a look. Actually, no, it goes on the same table. It's using, here we go, it's using the column month. Okay, so let's click on the column month. Let's go add column, conditional column. What I want to do is create financial year quarters. So I'll call it financial quarters. Let me just do it in here, financial quarters. And for this particular company, their financial year begins in April, the 1st of April. So that's their first quarter. But if I was going to go chronologically, I'll start with, okay, if the month equals January, then that is considered to be quarter 4. Add a clause. If the month equals February, then that is considered also to be quarter 4. Let me just take a copy of that. Copy, Control C. Add a clause. If the month happens to be March, paste that, and add a clause. So that's the 4th quarter done. But if the month equals April, then this is the start of the 1st quarter. So let's paste this in and change it to quarter 1. Add a clause. If the month equals May, then that is also quarter 1. And add a clause. If the month equals June, then that is also the 1st quarter. Now we go into the 2nd quarter. If the month equals July, then that is the 2nd quarter. Add a clause. If the month, notice how many clauses we can add. Equals July, August. Doesn't have to be nicely capitalized, but I do like it to look nice. Then that's the 2nd quarter. And then one more for the 2nd quarter. If the month equals September, then that is also the 2nd quarter. And lastly, the 3rd quarter. So if the month equals October, then that is quarter 3. And if the month equals November, spell it correctly, then that is also quarter 3. And last one, if the month equals December, then that is also quarter 3. So when I go okay, I'm going to end up with a column on the end of my table, which I can drag to the left and put to the right of month. And this conditional column will show me the quarters that are relevant for this company. January being the 4th quarter, April being the 1st quarter, and it works out the quarter for each record or each row on a row by row basis using a conditional column, works out the quarter based on the month. So that's a couple of examples of conditional columns which you can get at under the Add Column tab in the ribbon.